Now, the Bram Weinstein Show on Washington's new home for sports, ESPN 630.
Hey, babies. Hey, babies. Hey, babies. Hi, everyone. How many times did you think I was going to do that? 6?
Hey, babies?
Yeah.
I don't know. Usually good for like 3.5. That's the line. Usually every day.
Babies. Yes. Hello, everybody. Be Friday. Had quite a day so far. Quite a day. There was a bomb threat at my daughter's high school today.
Great.
It's the second one in Montgomery County in 2 days. I think the BCC one was considered a swatting incident.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they've qualified what happened at my daughter's high school today.
Got it.
So today sucked.
That's not fun.
No, it's not.
Right.
So that was they gave the all clear. That's the good news.
That's
but
good.
That was terrible. I also got to do a bunch of press with the super fans of the Spirit this morning because our first game's tomorrow night against Angel City FC. Our first broadcast with the team, match 10 of the season for the Spirit, and it should be it's going to be a good one. I'm excited about it. I'm pumped. I've been mainlining soccer this week, so I'm ready.
I've had a lot of late nights this week, but it's been fun.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Full disclosure, getting a broadcast out from scratch is an undertaking that I didn't know I was ready for, but
now you know.
Now I know, and
a lot of little details.
Those opportunities never pop up, though. So I've kind of embraced being here at 10 o'clock last night, putting together everything.
Yeah,
so
just trust me, it's gonna be great.
Oh no,
we're gonna be good. We're gonna be good. It's gonna be great. We're gonna have a lot of fun. It's gonna be good as long as the mics work and the people can hear it.
They do.
We're all good.
They do.
Yeah,
they can hear you. They can hear you in the bathroom in the concourse. I can confirm that today.
Yeah.
That's breaking news.
I did tell this one. I want to tell you, Mike Krikorian, who's the GM of the team, he doesn't do a lot of interviews. Did one with us.
Yep.
And that's going to play at 3:40 today. They made some controversial decisions at the beginning of the season by trading away a couple of very established players who had won a championship here and are still very much in their prime, and traded them away to get draft picks, and the draft picks have gone bonkers for them.
Yeah.
So, two things can be true at once, and he'll even acknowledge this. I'm happy to see that these others are playing really well in other places. Yeah. However, we got the 22-year-old. Yes. Yeah. So we talked to him, so you'll hear that at 3:40. This kind of just blurted out of my mouth. I'm typically pretty thoughtful about what I want to say about this stuff, and I thought about how do I want to present this in interviews, and was afraid of some of the deep dive questions I might get, which I didn't. So I was very happy about that. But because I'm not going to sit here. I said this to somebody recently. I go, look, when I got the Commanders gig, I have watched every play that team has run since I can remember.
Yeah.
I know everything about the NFL. And while I was anxious about doing it and really excited about doing it, I knew that I could just walk in the door because I know the NFL so intimately that I'm not worried about that part of it. I've been, injecting women's soccer into my veins the last month and a half. And that's the part that I just blurted out. I go, I am way more anxious about tomorrow night than I have ever been for a Commanders game.
Okay.
Because I'm not worried about doing a Commanders game. I might screw up, but I'm not worried about doing it. This one, I just want it to be good, and there's a little too much I don't know. Fair. And that's why I'm a little nervous. I think by the end of all of this, I'll be raring and ready to go, and it'll be second nature. But the first one's made me a little anxious, more so than I've ever been. And when I show you how much prep I did, you're going to be like, you're not going to say one iota of that on the air. And I'm like, I know. I already know I've overdone it. Walking in the door.
Better to overdo it than under.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, I'm with you, though. There's a learning curve here, but you also can't. This is one of my, it's not a complaint, but it's just they haven't caught up. I can't go to the Warren Sharps NWSL Twitter account. You need to deep dive by yourself on these stats. People don't really realize how hard some of it is.
I'll get you on the mailing list because I have the stats coming in from the league that have the deep divey stuff that I will be using a little bit.
Okay. Cool.
You want to hear my favorite one today?
Yeah, let's do it.
You want to hear my favorite one? I'll tell you my favorite one. The Spirit changed their style of play.
Yes.
And so they went from what they call a direct attack to this more beautiful game style that's, European friendly. And this is why they're bringing in these Spanish coaches to come in here, and they're implementing this. And that's a whole storyline that we're going to get into. The team they're playing, Angel City FC, still plays this more direct attack. And the difference is maintaining control and possession of the ball. And through 9 matches, I couldn't believe this when I saw this. The Spirit have completed 700 more passes than Angel City FC. 700.
700.
Yeah.
That sounds fake.
It doesn't sound real. Yeah. I know. When I saw it, I'm like, how's that even possible? But it's true because they just, when you watch them play, you'll see the spirit of back and forth, like to each other constantly, like just tapping it to one another, almost just playing like hot potato with it. And the other team isn't. They're just like, I'm going to try to get the fast
big boot. Yeah,
I'm going to get the fast girl down the right sideline, see if we can, blow one open here. And that's the way the Spirit used to play. So that's my stat of the day that I could not. But when I saw it, I almost like that can't be true. That's nuts. And then you watch them play, and you're like, yeah,
because it's for every one they have, there's 20 the other way. Okay, all
yes,
right. Fair enough.
Yeah, it's like the other team's like, what? And just kicks it down the field. Like, cut it out.
Big boot.
Yeah. Like, I don't have time for that. Yeah. All right, let me get to the news of the day, which is, well, you don't expect to wake up to this. Sometime in the wee hours of the morning, the number one golfer in the world was arrested by Louisville police just trying to get to the PGA Championship. We don't believe he had committed any kind of crime to pull him over.
Not jail, is he?
Not jail, is he? And so he goes into jail. They arrested him. Not for an underlying crime that they came looking for.
That's what I thought it was.
So did I. Once he got arrested, I'm like, what could it possibly be that he did? And as it turns out, something was happening in Louisville that ruined traffic. And it's a major event anyway, and people want to show up early, but the golfers have to get there really early. I mean, when you see the video, it's like wee hours in the morning that this happens.
Yes.
And I guess it's still unclear, but the traffic patterns were all messed up. And a number of players were seen later walking to the course because they couldn't get through and probably heard, don't mess with the Louisville PD today. They're arresting golfers.
Right.
Scheffler, I guess, I don't think anyone's entirely sure what happened, except for Jeff Darlington, who I will play in a moment because he actually, the ESPN reporter, saw it.
Witnessed it, yeah.
Saw it, which is Louisville PD's worst nightmare because he's going to tell you exactly what he saw. So however they want to say what happened, he's going to report exactly what he saw. But the Louisville PD, I don't know, I think it sounds like Scheffler just thought he would go around this because he's VIP, and maybe it was just a routine stop for fans, to go through whatever checkpoint to get through to get to the course. He didn't realize it's something else. They told him to stop. They clearly didn't know who he was, right?
Right, of course.
And then it's confusing because it sounds like he just tried to ignore them, and then he couldn't, and then they got mad. And then it turned into something
where the cop
that it went
dragged
sideways.
10 yards or whatever.
The cop got dragged 10 yards, which is hard to believe.
Did you see the
Scottie Scheffler is not Daron Payne. So I have a hard time believing that he dragged anybody.
It was in his car.
With his car.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Like the guy was hanging on the door?
Yeah.
Well, no wonder he got arrested. What are you doing?
Well, yeah, so this is what
are you
Darlington's going to tell you. That's exactly what happened.
All right. So listen, this is Jeff Darlington who witnessed this at whatever time this was this morning.
Entering Valhalla Golf Club this morning, we witnessed a car pull around us that was Scottie Scheffler was in the car. To be very clear about the details here, Scottie Scheffler has been detained by police officers, placed in the back of a police vehicle in handcuffs after he tried to pull around what he believed to be security, ended up being police officers. They told him to stop. When he didn't stop, the police officer attached himself to the vehicle. Scheffler then traveled another 10 yards before stopping the car. The police officer then grabbed at his arm, attempting to pull him out of the car before Scheffler eventually opened the door, at which point the police officer pulled Scheffler out of the car, pushed him up against the car, and immediately placed him in handcuffs. Scheffler was then walked over to the police car, placed in the back in handcuffs, very stunned about what was happening, looked toward me as he was in those handcuffs and said, "Please help me." He very clearly did not know what was happening in the situation. It moved very quickly, very rapidly, very aggressively. He was detained in that police vehicle for approximately 20 minutes. The police officers at that point did not understand that Scottie Scheffler was a golfer in the tournament, nor, of course, that he is the #1 player in the world.
Okay. All right. He does need to explain, why did he try to drive away with the officer hanging onto the car?
Because everyone...
The rest of it, him going around the police, totally get it. Him kind of ignoring them, going, don't you know who I am
We're thinking,
here?
like, the only thing I can think of is, were they, like, did it look like maybe they were trying to wave him through instead of stop?
Maybe.
Like, that happens all the time. Where
with the players, He's probably seen police presence and security at every event he's ever been to. It's not abnormal. He pulls up to this one. As it turns out, it's not a security thing. It's something happened, and they're dealing with it. He tries to go by. The officer's like, stop. Don't you see flashing lights? He goes anyway and is like, yeah. Not even listening because it's 5 a.m. or whatever it is. Yeah, and he's blasting death metal or whatever it is that he gets ready to play golf, whatever, or he's at a meditation or whatever. He's not even thinking this through, right? He's not. And then he gets past it, and the police are mad now, so they chase him.
As they should, by the way.
Yeah, as they should. But he's like, what? Right. I didn't do it, whatever it is. And he's like, I'm Scottie Scheffler. And he's like driving down the street.
That is confirmed. He didn't say, I'm Scottie Scheffler.
How he didn't pull, don't you know who I am, is really amazing here.
Because the one time you should, by the way.
Also, this is very telling, because if this was Tiger Woods, there isn't anybody on earth that wouldn't know who he was. Or actually, if this was Rory McIlroy, I would actually have a hard time believing that the police didn't know who he was. It's very telling for the sport of golf that the #1 player in the world is so unrecognizable.
That's right.
And not only #1 player in the world now, for like a year running.
Yep, right, exactly.
He won the Masters last year.
Right.
like, he's been the best golfer in the world. He's like a minus 10,000 to win the PGA Championship, and it's a field of 130 players. And they don't know who he is. Right. Nobody knows who he is. So that's golf's problem. They have to realize this.
Correct.
So then, you dragged the police officer a little bit. Maybe dragged might be a strong word.
Darlington's not lying. He says 10 yards. I'm taking Darlington's word for that.
So then, and
that's
now,
not Stephen A.
And now, listen, to the police, to their defense, things are going to ramp up to 11 now.
You're right. Yes. Yeah.
Get out of the car.
Yeah.
We're taking you out of the car.
Right.
They're lucky they didn't slam him on the car.
You don't know, because if you don't know who he is, you're thinking, okay, is this guy drunk?
Right.
Is he under the influence of something?
Right.
Like,
why is he driving away from us?
Yeah,
what did
he
do?
Me?
What did he do? What did he do? Scottie Scheffler is now a full-on criminal. He's in an episode of Cops all of a sudden.
Right.
He's the delinquent in the episode of Cops.
It's actually an episode of Reno 911.
Yeah, it is. It is an episode of Reno 911 because he's wearing the same dumb clothes. He's dressed like a golfer.
Right.
Right, but at that time of the morning, if you're the cop, you don't realize it. That guy does look like he's been out all night drinking.
Right.
And look at his beard.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, for sure.
So he's got the profile of that dude's just wasted.
Correct.
Maybe he was. He's like, now we find out he plays drunk.
Can I give you my favorite tweet of the day from Darren Ravel, who is now in this collective space? Darren Ravel, the last sentence of the Scheffler police report, quote, Detective Gillis's uniform pants valued at approximately $80 were damaged beyond repair.
Okay.
The follow-up tweet. We're a week away from Darren Ravel paying $3,000 for Officer Gillis's pants. I put in an inquiry. Think they're a little busy right now.
Yeah. He'll get them. He'll get them.
You put those in a frame on the wall.
All of the tweets about the Masters dinner next year is going to be like prison food. And someone tweeted out my favorite scene from Goodfellas where they cook in the prison and they slice the garlic with a razor blade to make the sauce because it dissolves. Right. And you got to cook the meat and put it in at a certain time.
Correct.
The dinners that they have in prison.
That's right.
That's going to be the dinner. And if Scheffler does have a sense of humor, he will have a prison dinner. He's also not going to win this tournament now. No one comes back from this.
I don't know.
What mental fortitude do you have to not think about that today at some point? He is going to shank some shot at some point.
Sometimes, though, I think you know this. Sometimes you're thrown into the fire and you just kind of go into a different mental place.
This is no way. This is full Happy Gilmore. Somebody's going to be yelling, I'll see you at the Sizzler.
The Sizzler.
Yeah. He will have a triple bogey today. I don't know which hole, but it will happen. He's going to lose it at some point. How is he going to play through that? He's going to lose it at some point.
Or he's going to hit an eagle and he's going to do the "Who do you think you are? I am." Yelling at somebody.
Shooter McGavin, full Shooter McGavin.
Full shooter, yeah.
Yeah. So
the price is wrong, Louisville.
Now, interestingly, they did release him.
Right.
And considering what we know,
made his tea time.
They did release him, which, I saw some legal people go, the type of felony that he was charged with.
Yeah, it was a felony.
Yeah, against a police officer. They don't let people go play golf that day.
Correct. On a Friday?
Yeah.
The joke was he should have been in there all weekend.
Look, I've seen a lot of people say this is a misunderstanding. I agree. I firmly believe this was a major misunderstanding. But once he dragged the police officer,
yes.
That's where it's all over.
Like, how do you twist
Game
that
over.
I'll let him go. He's fine. What?
But they did.
Right.
They did because he's going to have to, and I guess, I don't know, is he going to show up for arraignment after the tournament today?
I guess. I don't know.
Is he going to make the cut?
Was there a call saying he's not a flight risk because he's going to play in the tournament all weekend? I mean,
if you're playing with him today, how do you not say things
to him? Oh, my God.
To him?
You have to.
Yeah. You're like, what are you going to make your shank out of?
Your bag's really dragging there,
yeah,
Scotty?
Yeah. Nice shank, Scotty.
I thought orange was your color this morning.
I got a really bad joke that I won't do.
Don't make it.
Really bad one.
Have you seen the people say that he needs to wear orange on Sundays now?
Oh, yeah. Orange on Sundays.
What are we doing here, guys?
Orange is the new red. Let's go.
I also saw my favorite. I think it was my favorite tweet was Scottie Scheffler dragged a cop 10 yards, was dragged out of his car, had a mugshot taken, and he still made his tee time at 10:08. That's the whitest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Yeah. That is the point, though. Everybody else in Louisville's going, excuse me?
Correct. Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I also had a misunderstanding when I dragged the cop 10
on a Friday
yards.
morning. I was not out Friday morning.
Yeah. On a Friday morning at 4 a.m. when I dragged the cop 10 yards with my car, they also thought that was a misunderstanding and let me get to my tee time.
Right.
I mean, they kind of, did they have to? I don't think they had to, actually. Now that I think about it, I don't think they had to let him go.
I don't think they did either. When you read what Darlington, hear what Darlington said as a first-hand account.
I also like the please help me.
Please help me.
Please help me. What does he want Darlington to do?
Yeah, right.
All Darlington can do to help him is say this. I am an ESPN reporter.
Right.
I am going to go on the air as soon as, because I'm going to call my editor right now.
Running to the desk right now.
I'm going to tell them I literally saw it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell them exactly what I saw. So, and if the police officer goes, do that.
Right.
Because he dragged me with the car and you saw it.
Right.
Well, actually, Jeff Darlington can't help him. But if something less sinister occurred, then he could. The only thing I guess he's probably, trying to get him to do is tell him who I am.
Right.
Vouch for me.
Yeah, vouch for me.
Vouch for me. I'm the number one golfer in the world. We're playing the PGA Championship. Don't arrest me. I didn't kill anybody.
Right. I mean,
is this going to ruin this guy's career? I mean,
no, I don't think so. Well,
it's going to be weird now.
It is a felony. I mean,
it's going to be weird now. It's going to be weird now.
What's the full?
Everywhere he goes, he's going to be hearing about this. Now it's like the golf world got something on him. They got something on him.
Full rap sheet. Second-degree assault of a police officer, felony. Mm-hmm. Third-degree criminal mischief, reckless driving, and disregarding traffic signals from an officer directing traffic.
The last one's a fine.
Yeah, that's true.
The first one is a felony.
Right.
That's not that I think they'll put him in prison.
I don't think they will.
That has prison attached to it.
Right.
Now, I don't think they'll do that because they let him out on his own recognizance to go play a golf tournament. So I'm going to go with they're not taking this that seriously.
Well, as I said, too, though, he's not a flight risk because he's going to play in the tournament all weekend.
He's going to have to do some kind of nice thing for the Louisville Police Department, too. A really, really nice, I think he's going to have to hold a officer's day out at Valhalla on Tuesday and stick around and play a round of golf with all of them and schmooze them up big time and maybe make a nice donation to the police fund down there to get them to lay off of this a little bit. Because if this moves forward and they don't drop those charges, considering Jeff Darlington saw it and reported it, it's now verified that it happened.
Right.
And I don't know. I've been watching a lot of the Trump trial lately, and it turns out proof does matter. The actual signed check is hard to get around. It's hard to get around. So Jeff Darlington going on SportsCenter this morning and literally saying as an eyewitness that he saw it. That's not good for him if they want to continue pursuing charges here against him.
I'm going to show you this picture from how fast the internet and
T-shirt is that real? I saw that. Is that real?
Yeah, that's real.
Somebody had a printed T-shirt of him like in an orange jumpsuit.
Well, no, it's not. That's his mugshot. That's not a picture. That's his mugshot.
Oh, they got the mugshot.
So they printed it on a T-shirt and showed up to the PGA Championship wearing the T-shirt.
How did they do that?
Welcome to the modern age, man. It takes 5 seconds.
I thought it was photoshopped when I saw it. I'm like, how could they have turned that around that fast?
Nope. It's not photoshopped. That guy showed up wearing that.
You know, it'd be amazing if Dan Quinn wears that to his press conference next week. That'd be great.
I don't think he's wearing any homemade T-shirts anymore.
No? That would be a good one, though.
Would be a good one.
That would be a good one. Does this screw him up mentally? I got to tell you, like the rest of the golf, because this guy is killing people.
Right.
Like just murdering the tour.
Watch your language there.
This is going to be weird.
Phrasing.
Everywhere he goes, people are going to bring it up. They're going to bring it up.
He is through 17 and he's 5 under today.
He is?
So
5 under today?
Yep.
Or 5 under for the tournament?
He's 9 under for the tournament.
What?
5 under today. He's tied for second place.
Oh, he's a psychopath.
I told you this.
So he's a sociopath.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Right.
He's a total sociopath. How would you play well after that? I couldn't play well after that.
Sometimes these athletes, if you just throw them into the fire,
if I got arrested for dragging a cop and had to get out of it that morning, I don't think that the next 5 hours later I would be doing my best work.
You're not the number 1 golfer in the world for a reason.
Wow. I have so much respect for him now. This is unbelievable.
More respect.
How would you do that? What kind of sociopath are you? He doesn't look. You know the funny part? Phil's a sociopath too, but you can't tell when you look at him. You had to hear about it.
Yeah, that's true.
I think we're finding out in real time.
Crazy.
This guy's he looks like a nice little teddy bear. He's a sociopath.
Crazy MFers.
Yeah, he's a crazy MFer. He should wear a shirt that's crazy. Crazy MFers golf. That should be on his bag.
Who is his sponsor? Do we know? Do we know who sponsors him? Because whoever that is, I mean, what are you working up? Because you gotta market this somehow.
Darlington's going to get a note from him after the tournament going, snitches get stitches. Darlington might as well go into hiding. He's done covering golf. Can you help me? And he was like, I was serious. Can you help me?
So the funniest part about that too is all of the people that jumped in that don't follow golf. Like, what is Darlington doing covering this? Because they're like, what?
I got to tell you. Darlington, Marty Smith, it was an interesting crew that's covering this sport. You know, they miss Rinaldi. Yeah. Where's Rinaldi at? Not that Jeff does a bad job, but I'm used to seeing his reports on the Dolphins.
Well,
you know,
is that who does?
It's a different world.
He's going to cover the Dolphins. I thought he was Bears. Wasn't he the Bears?
No.
Okay.
That's Courtney Cronin. Jeff Darlington is based out of Miami. He covered the Dolphins forever, so all Dolphins news goes to Jeff.
Got it.
I've been waiting on the Tua update with him. All of a sudden, he's doing Scottie Scheffler rap sheet. I didn't know.
Right.
He's probably like, this is cool now.
He's like, this is nice.
Yeah.
I'm the most important reporter today.
Yeah. He's like, I don't really know how to contextualize that birdie. He's like me with the spirit matches. He's figuring it out as he goes along. Fair. Hopefully nobody with the spirit will drag a cop 10 yards tomorrow. I don't think that's
going to happen.
Hopefully it will not happen tomorrow. Scottie Scheffler, you are a sociopath, sir. How do you go 5 under after today? After the events of this morning? How do you go 5 under in a major? Tiger Woods, hold my beer. That is incredible.
We also don't know what Tiger was doing prior to some.
What if he breaks the record at the PGA Championship and wins by 12 strokes?
Apparently, that's the adrenaline rush that you need.
Then they're going to be like, "Are you going to try to get arrested at every tournament?" And he's like, "You'll see."
No, then you know what's going to happen.
Don't at me, bro.
You know what's going to happen? Tiger's going to go, oh, and I'm the crazy one for having the Navy SEALs tackle me over and over again.
Yeah. Hey, remember, I wasn't as good after all that happened? Take a look at this guy.
Right.
He's the crazy one. All right, we'll be right back. Bray West Show, ESPN 630 Sports Capital. I'm going to monitor something here. Paul Skeens for the Pirates is through 4 innings, and he has struck out 9 batters and given up no hits. So 9 of the 12 batters he's faced have been struck out. He's thrown 64 pitches, so that's a decent amount here, but I'm going to assume they're going to let him run the gamut and see where we end up with him today. He is he's Strasburg.
Yeah. No, I mean he's throwing 100. He's throwing 100 today. Yes, he absolutely is.
He his first appearance was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And then I read a couple quotes from a couple players who played him, and they went, uh-oh.
Exactly.
So they've got they got a samurai on that team.
Our friend Tim Murray pointed out a hurtful stat today. The Nationals were the worst team in baseball last year.
Yeah.
And it was also the first year of the draft lottery.
Yeah.
If it wasn't the first year of the draft lottery, Paul Skeens would be a Washington National.
They would have
bar
got him.
none. Yes.
Yeah, they would have got him.
So, yeah.
So we'll keep an eye on that through the afternoon. 9 strikeouts, 12 batters, no hits through 4. Pirates lead the Cubs 5-0. I'm
going to go with this, too. This is one of my favorite things ever, like summertime Wrigley Friday game. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people skipping out work to go see that one. That is a nice beginning to the weekend down there at Wrigley.
And you know what happens after that? People drag cops all over the place on their way to play a quick 9 before the sun goes down. Okay, hon. Let's see.
He's got to be done right now.
I buried the lead, too. I don't know why I haven't said this yet. So last night I went to, thanks to Chris Johnson for the invitation, to the 18th annual Mickey Steele charity golf tournament, which last night really is a get-together at a crab deck in Kent Island, and then they play a charity golf event the next day today. And it's a who's who of ex-Redskins players. Riggo was there, Joe Jacoby was there, and a couple of them, Mark Rypien and Darrell Green, I got to sit down and talk to last night because I attended. So you're going to hear that. 4 o'clock, my interview with Darrell Green, where he talks about getting his number retired and some other interesting things. And he was actually very talkative with me last night. And then Mark Rypien, the former Super Bowl MVP, who spearheaded this event here in Kent Island. It was his friend who passed away. And he lost a child to cancer.
Right?
Mickey Steele. Mickey Steele. And, Mark lost a child to cancer. Mickey died of cancer. His child died of cancer a long time ago. So he talks about some of that. And then, of course, I asked him about Jayden Daniels. He had a lot of interesting things to say about Jayden Daniels. So you'll hear that interview in a bit. But on that same vein, so there were others there. Don Warren was there last night. And I also got a chance to catch up with Gerald Riggs, who I don't think I've ever spoken to. And this goes back to the 80s when he's sharing a backfield with Ernest Biner and players like that. And he was part of the litany of great running backs that came through here in the 1980s under Joe Gibbs, John Riggins, Joe Washington, George Rogers, Gerald Riggs, Ernest Biner. There's so many that played under that group at the time. B. Mitch, yep. So it was a great opportunity to catch up with Gerald Riggs. So here was the former Redskins running back, Gerald Riggs. This is the one and only Gerald Riggs at the Mickey Steele Charity Golf Tournament. It's great to see you.
It is great to be here.
Yeah.
Come out and support Mark and everything that's going on here. See the guys and just have a good time.
Yep. So what's the experience like getting back together now? It's been a while since you guys were on the field, and we calling your name and calling touchdowns here in Washington.
Well, time passes, and, we get a chance to once in a while be around each other, and it's always great when we can do it around a cause. Some guys get a chance to, maybe keep in contact over the years, but, man, it is always great to be part of such a great fraternity of guys and get a chance to come in and shake hands and give the guys hugs and catch up and just the camaraderie that we had, share that camaraderie that we had at one time.
Gerald, what do you remember about your playing days here in Washington?
Oh, my gosh. Man, that's a loaded question, because
I'm good at those.
Back in the day, still just in my first time to come here, I remember being traded, and then my first preseason game, to have a sellout preseason game in the old Washington Redskin days.
Because this was traded from Atlanta,
yes,
correct?
Yeah, traded from Atlanta.
Right.
And coming here, and then my first preseason game, just like I said, to have a full house. That was unheard of in Atlanta. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed my days there. but it was just a different feel. It was a different mentality, and you knew that it bred championships, it bred the championship attitude, it bred the championship, fever for the fans, and it was just infectious from day one.
So you felt it immediately that it was different here, at least at the time.
Yes, it was evident, man. And once you stepped out here, you stepped into that Redskin uniform, and then stepped on the field and hear the fans, singing "Hail to the Redskins," and then when we win games, just to see how the crowd and the community around it was just different. It's one of those atmospheres that I think every player, they want to play in. When they're in the NFL, they want to go to a team that the fan base is rabid, and they come out and they support the guys and they cheer, and it was just awesome.
Who are you partial to these days? Do you still follow the Commanders? Do you follow other teams? Where's your heart lie these days?
Well, I still always pay close attention to what's going on in Atlanta, because that's where I started. And being a part of the Ring of Honor there, which is an honor bestowed upon me after playing there, it still is a special place in my heart. So I want to see them do well. I know that there's some things that Arthur Blank has done over the years to really bring in the fan base and reel them in for that city. They've been close, but it's still great to have had the chance to play for one of the most signature teams in the NFL in the Washington Redskins.
What'd you think of Atlanta when they signed Kirk Cousins and then drafted Michael Penix?
I'm just glad I'm not the GM. Because you don't have to, explain to everybody what you're trying to do. I think I see what they're trying to do, but I think when you're close, and if you're just at the cusp of playoff, being a predominantly playoff team, I can understand some of those things, but they're still not close. They still have problems in their own division. They still have problems really getting over the hump, so to speak. And when you make a move like that, it definitely sends up a little flag of confusion amongst your fan base. So, hopefully it works out for them.
Hopefully.
I'd like to see it work out. But, I don't think the NFL lives in a 3-year, 4-year plan anymore.
I agree.
You want to see it happen now.
I mean, that is probably one of the biggest differences now. Maybe it's free agency and the salary cap and all of that stuff, which you didn't experience during your playing days. But it does feel like that things turn over much quicker in this league than they used to.
Well, it has to. I think that when you look at jobs are on the line, decisions that are being made for the sake of the organization, you want to hit the field running. And this year they better hit the field running. And I think people are going to want to see immediate results. I know that they're what they're planning for, maybe for the future, but the fan base wants to see immediate results, and I think Arthur Blank wants to see immediate results. So we'll see what happens.
One more thing about the current state of football. You were a great running back. How would you handle contract negotiations these days, where it seems that people at your position are undervalued across the league?
Well, thank you, first of all, for thinking I was a great back.
You were a great back. You're in a ring of fame, aren't you?
But, it's the way that things are handled these days, when you look at what the running back position has suffered because of the passing game, to be able to open it up everything and be more, proficient downfield. Contract negotiations are something that, back in our day, we didn't really take place in. We didn't take part in. We let our agents handle it. But I think that right now, it's very difficult for most running backs, unless if you're not in the top 5 guys or top maybe 6 guys in the league. It's very difficult.
Even Saquon Barkley couldn't get it, and he's a top 5 player.
He's a top 10, whatever. But it's very difficult for these days because offenses don't have patience for the running game. They want the excitement now. They want the down the field. They want the open up offense. And oftentimes that does not include the running back because he's running the ball from the backfield. And unless you're a guy who's got, breakaway speed at every, you're a threat every single play, it's not going to happen. So, it's unfortunate. It's just like the fullback has gone away. I think the luster of the tailback and that bell cow running back is suffering a lot because of other things.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned bell cow. Who did you share the running back room with here when you were here?
Were you with in Washington?
Yeah. Were you with?
It was me and Ernest Biner.
Yeah,
Ernest Biner.
So there's two bell cow running backs in the same backfield. Even then.
Yeah. Even then, we had to find a way to really be a good mix at times. Joe needed to find a way to make it cohesive for both of us to be, and at times we did it. And so it's difficult these days. These guys now it's now or never.
That's right.
So you don't want to be in the same backfield. There's no way in the world you can have, unfortunately, I'll go to Tennessee. You could not see a backfield with Derrick Henry and Pollard in the backfield.
That's right.
That was never going to happen. And then other teams, where you have two backs that are equally well prepared and ready to go out there, it's very difficult to keep those same guys on the field at the same time to be productive. So somebody always has to suffer. And it's unfortunate because in the days of the two-back offense are just gone.
Yep. Gerald, it was really great seeing you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Man, it's my pleasure. And again, you as the voice, I will look forward to seeing you and of course hearing what you do for the Commanders.
Our home finale is against the Falcons this year. Come on up.
I will be here.
All right. We'll see you there.
Okay. Thank you.
That's Gerald Riggs. At 4 o'clock, you'll hear Darrell Green. I got to sit down and talk to him about his jersey retirement and other things, and the former Super Bowl MVP Mark Rypien as well at 4:20. But up next, the general manager of the Washington Spirit, Mark Krikorian, will talk about the roster as we get set for our first ever broadcast of the Spirit matches tomorrow night. Bram, watch the show, ESPN 630, the Sports Capital. Let's welcome in the general manager of the Washington Spirit, Mark Krikorian, as we get set for our first broadcast of the Spirit matches this weekend against Angel City FC. Hey, Mark, how are you? Thanks for coming on.
It's a pleasure, Bram. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to join you today.
Let's talk about the team a little bit, and then I want to get your thoughts on the broadcast and the league at large since you've been around it for so long. But let's start with the team. Most goals, most points through this start of a season in Spirit history. To what do you attribute the early success of the team this year?
Well, I think we have a really good collective group. Obviously talented players, a hardworking staff that has great attention to detail. The performance team working in conjunction with the technical staff, helping to get the players be in a good spot physically and obviously emotionally and ready to play. So I think right now we're in a good spot, and the team is playing pretty good soccer.
How are you thinking about this so far? Does it feel ahead of the curve? Does it feel like where you thought it might be? How are you thinking about the early season success?
I think it's kind of what I hoped we would be. We've had our ups and downs at 6-3. You kind of look and appreciate the successes, but also understand that it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to just start and have a clear path to the playoffs and then beyond. So there will always be bumps in the road. And with such a new team and a new staff and new philosophy of play and all of that, we knew that there would be a bit of a learning curve in all of it. But I think all the players and the staff have done a really good job of adjusting and accommodating to the changes. Yeah,
I want to ask you about a number of those items, but let's start back in the offseason. You made a couple of major trades at the draft, a couple of key pieces off the championship team from 2021. Sam Staub was traded. Ashley Sanchez was traded. You ended up getting draft picks who have had major roles here, and in Croy Bethune, an amazing rookie season. How difficult was it to make those moves at the time?
Yeah, it's really hard. I know that when you're losing players of that caliber, it's challenging. But what we also know is that you have to give something to get something. And, we feel very good about the players that we've picked up. And on the other side of that, it's nice to watch Sam and Ashley Sanchez go out and perform well for their new clubs and continue to grow in their roles. But for us here in D.C., we feel really good about the players that we have, and that the foundation is now being set for future success.
So let's talk about some of those rookies. Croy is having just an outstanding season. Obviously would be a front runner for Rookie of the Year. 8 points, 4 goals, 4 assists. Those numbers are amongst the best starts in league history for any rookie. What do you attribute to her fitting in so well and being so effective so soon in her career?
Well, I think there are a lot of elements to it. First of all, Croy sees the game differently than a lot of players have. An extra sense, a little bit more vision than many of the other players. And, for me, I've always thought that the greatest compliment you can give is that a player makes everyone else around them better. And I find that to be the case with Croy. She knows how to take advantage and use the different physical dimensions that some of our players have and technical quality that some of the players have. And, if you have a player that's always putting the ball away from pressure at the proper foot, giving them that extra second of time to be able to process the game, they're going to make everyone better, and your opportunity for success will grow. And Croy is one of those players.
Her personality is interesting too. We were hanging around the facility, and she has kind of a humble nature to herself, but everyone seems to know she knows she's good. So there seems to be this balance of she knows she fits in, she knows she's really good, but she has this kind of humble nature to herself.
She does. She has a quiet confidence, and it's really an attractive quality, right? I mean, sometimes when players that are a little bit special come in, they can kind of turn their teammates off or the staff off. That's not been the case with Croy. She's come in with great humility and a willingness to work hard and listen and learn and get better and grow together with her teammates. And, we have some teammates that are far older than she is, yet she's come in and she showed the respect to those players as well as the younger players. So, she's done it on the field, but in the locker room as well.
She was the 3rd overall pick. The 5th overall pick was Hal Hirschfeld, and she's really fit in and played a major role as well. Can you talk about her?
Yeah, I think Hal was vital. I had a chance to see Hal play an awful lot over the years, and always left feeling that she was a big talent. And sometimes she's one of these that's a little bit underappreciated. I understand that up till now she hasn't had much opportunity with the national team, and it's a little bit surprising to me because I've always thought that she had all kinds of different dimensions to her game, and her physical quality, the technical ability as well, her toughness, her willingness to make all those extra recovery runs and help her teammates out, I think are going to continue to make her very successful. But we knew that we had a special one in her, and I'm just glad that for both Croy and for Hal that they've showed their quality as early on as they have.
And the last one, Kate Wiesner, who actually dealt with some injuries early in the season, has kind of made her way back. She's really gotten into form here. I think you saw this during the road trip with her. What have you made of her impact here early?
Yeah, during preseason, I thought she was really good, really good. And then she, of course, suffered that injury in the first number of minutes in the opening game in Seattle, and then missed quite a bit of time because of it. And I don't think we've seen the best of her yet. You got a little bit of a taste of it in these most recent games, but I think that as she plays herself back into fitness and full health, that she's going to be another one that's going to be in and around the national team.
This is a really interesting season. You have an interim head coach who's implementing a new system with a lot of young players, and yet it's kind of come together so far. I mean, how have you kind of thought through implementing new system, changing the makeup of the roster, new coaches coming in the middle of the season? How have you kind of thought through the entire process here?
Yeah, I think if you have a collection of flexible thinkers that want to achieve, then the possibility for success is far greater. And there was a lot of homework that was done in both draft selections and the addition of players, as well as the coaching selection. So, the hope is that you get it right. You don't always get it right, but when you do get it right, it comes together and you have a good, solid foundation to build upon. And I think that we are establishing that foundation right now. And
you do have the Barca manager coming in later this year. Why Jonathan Giraldez? Why was he the choice for the Spirit moving forward?
It became pretty clear. We wrote a game model here of the way that we wanted to play, and one of our really smart young guys, James Hawkin, who heads our analytics, kind of put an algorithm to this game model, and the Barcelona team and Jonah and his group were right on the top in terms of who was going to play the style of soccer that we wanted to play, who best fit the vision of the soccer that we want to play. And Jonah was the guy, and the Barcelona team was the model of a beautiful possession style of soccer. And we're getting there. It's nice to watch and getting better, and it will continue to grow as the staff and players continue to grow together.
It was interesting. I was getting ready for the match against Angel City, and I thought maybe the most striking stat that I saw was Washington has completed 700 more passes than Angel City, which I think is a kind of a testament to the style of play. But 700 in 9 matches, it really is astounding that it's kind of taken this way.
Yeah, as you know, Bram, there's a lot of ways to play the game and to be successful. And, some are more interested in playing a more direct style that can be really effective also. I think that we're seeing some teams in this league that are playing that way that are effective, but that's not really the vision that we have here in Washington. And we want to play the beautiful game, and those statistics will certainly bear that out. But I also think that at the end of the day, the statistic that matters the most is the wins and the losses.
We talked about the new players. Let me ask about just one carryover with you, which is Trinity Rodman, your star forward. So she also is playing with a lot of new teammates, playing in a new style. How did you think about her role evolving as all these changes were happening around her?
Well, I think that, Trin is such a talent. You can play any style you want, and she's still going to stand out, and she's going to look good. She's a top-level player and continuing to grow and get better every day. I didn't have any real concern about her fitting into this new philosophy of play and style of play and so on. And I think, as everyone has seen, she's fit in very well.
Okay, last thing. Now that you are where you are, near the top of the standings, extremely competitive, have your expectations for this particular season changed at all?
Not for me. I've looked at it and thought that we've built a really good roster, and there'll be more help on the way here in this summer window. But I think that the goal is get ourselves as high in the standings as we can, with the idea of getting into the playoffs, and then doing the best we can from there. So, at the end, everyone's measured by wins and losses and championships and so on. But, with Michelle Kang as the owner here, she's such a big picture visionary. While we're all impatient and we all want this success to come overnight, we know that if we build it properly, then there'll be the opportunity for long-standing success.
All right, last thing. I don't know how you are on game day, but we'd love to have you in the booth. Now that we're launching this partnership to air the games on ESPN 630, we hope you stop by sometime and come by.
That sounds great, Bram. I appreciate the invite, and let's circle back and we'll find the time to get together in the booth.
Mark, thank you so much for the time.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.
That's Mark Krikorian, the general manager of the Spirit. Our first match will be tomorrow night. We're going to start pregame at 7:20 because the kickoff is right at 7:30. So we're going to start at 7:20 so we get a proper introduction and get into our first match, Spirit and Angel City at Audi Field. Up next, the one and only, yes.
That is exclusively on the ESPN 630 app, the 7:20 pregame show. 7:30 will be ESPN 630 app, the website, or WashingtonSpirit.com. So exclusively on ESPN 630's app or the website for ESPN 630.
Because the Orioles are playing tomorrow night
exactly,
as well. All right,
exactly.
So we got a number of things for you to listen to. It's easy to navigate on our app as well.
Yeah, it's the best part with the app now. There's an Orioles button, there's a Spirit button. Click what you want to listen to.
All right, up next, the one and only Darrell Green. Bram, watch the show, ESPN 630, the Sports Capital. Bottom of the 6th in Chicago, Paul Skeen still has a no-hitter going, and he has struck out 10 Cubs.
God.
He's through 5 1/3. Cubs are batting right now, 8-0 Pirates, and he struck out 10. So he could, if he struck out everybody, get to 20. But
it's ridiculous.
I mean, he's, if they keep him going, I don't know what his pitch count. I have to check, see what his pitch count is. But if he keeps going, I mean, I assume they're going to let him go for it.
The Pirates, they have to.
He has issued a walk, so there's no perfect game. Right. But a no-hitter going, and now there's 2 outs, bottom of the 6th, and it still says he has struck out 10.
I think he also, for his first game, he announced he was donating $100 or something, or maybe $1,000 for every strikeout that he had for for the season. So it had to be $100. Can't be $1,000.
So his pitch count's at 94.
Oh,
so he's not going to get there.
Yeah, he's getting.
So they're going to let him get through this inning and then maybe make a choice on the next one. But he's good. Yeah.
If I was the Pirates, I would honestly say, let's think about
trade him now. Four postseason runs. 4 postseason runs.
I was going to say, you should have a conversation of, do we let him go and we let him skip the next start?
I
would.
He's going to end up throwing. If you let him go, he's going to end up, unless he gives up a hit, then you can pull him.
Right.
But he's going to end up throwing 130 to 140 pitches.
And he's like 20.
Agree. Yeah, I agree. He'll be fine.
Screw it.
Who cares? Yeah, he'll be fine.
Throw a no-hitter at Wrigley on a day game on a Friday?
Yeah, let him do it. Yeah, I agree. Let him do it.
Skip the next start.
Yeah, let him do it. I agree. Let him do it.
What that is going to do for morale for your franchise, because morale is low, would kind of do some good things there. I say leave him in.
The beginning of his career is off to a really good, striking, it's obvious start.
Yes.
Which reminds me of one Darrell Green, who his first impression was running down Tony Dorsett and showing off the Olympic track speed and tracking down Dorsett on a famous game on, I think it was Monday Night Football in, 1982 or 1983, whatever it was. Last night, I was at the 18th annual Mickey Steele Charity Golf Tournament, which is a big event that is spearheaded by Mark Rypien, who you're going to hear from in about 15, 20 minutes. I talked to him last night as well. And it raises money for cancer, which Mark Rypien lost a son to. Mickey Steele, the namesake of the tournament, also died from at a pretty young age. That's not going to be the topics that we talked about with Darrell Green, but we touched on a lot of things, including the retirement of his number. So here is the Hall of Famer, Darrell Green. Here is the legendary Darrell Green at the 18th annual Mickey Steele Golf Tournament. It's great to see you.
Oh, man, it's great to be seen.
Tell me about, well, let me just start with this. Let me be the first broadcast crew of the team to congratulate you on having your number retired. That's really amazing and obviously so well overdue.
Well, I can't speak to the overdue part because I don't think like that. Nobody owes me anything, but I was humbly grateful for Josh Harris, everybody in the whole crew, Mitch Rails, Magic, Mark Irons, all these guys I know, that they decided to. I'm humbled by that. I mean, nobody owes me anything. And you've heard me say that before. When I played here, I worked hard. They paid me. I went home, but for them to do that, and I've learned more and more over time how special that really is. You know, I didn't really know. Like, wow, okay, so number 33, number 9, number 49, young kid, 21, and myself, and 80 years, whatever, 80, 90 years. Yeah. So, no, I'm humbled by that. You know me, I'm kind of a sober guy, I have fun, when that happened, I was like, wow, I'm taking the license to celebrate and be excited and be happy. And I totally am.
And they got you, too. You were genuinely surprised. Everybody saw the video.
Oh, my gosh. That was... Yeah. My grandkids were in town, and we had a birthday, and then on my way to the facility, I would drop my daughter-in-law and the kids off at my other daughter's house. They're going to dinner, and they're going to take pictures, and, okay, see y'all. And it was... I'm totally beholden to them forever.
When did you retire? What year? Remind me.
December 2002.
2002, so it's been 22 years. You will not remember this. I remember it because it's a memory for me when I covered the team. But I remember at your retirement ceremony, because you had played 20 years with the Redskins. And I said, 20 years from now, how do you want Darrell Green to be remembered? And here we are, 20 plus years later, how do you want to be remembered? Because it's not just a football player.
Yeah, and I think, and Josh Harris said it, and I think Magic said it, of course, and they all said it, but Josh is the lead guy. But he made it very clear it wasn't just the X's and O's. It wasn't just the tackles and interceptions and rundowns. And that's what made me cry, because my whole life has been, I want to be I want to be worth something more than a tackle. I want to be to my wife, to my children, to my community, to God, to everybody. And I will just say this. The fans, it's like you said, 20 years later, we were out there at the harbor.
Yeah.
It was incredible. You think I just played yesterday. So, this was pretty special. I've always been grateful to this community. I got my wife from here, and so, no, man, gosh, ain't nothing else I can say. It's the most special thing I've experienced. It's up there and beyond the Hall of Fame. And, that sounds weird to people, but because this is us. This is us. This is our ownership. This is our family, our community. This is us. And I'm grateful. Like people say, well, hey, I'm sorry, I'm a Cowboy fan. Well, I have a Hall of Fame jacket. When I'm out there, I go, hey, I'm just a Hall of Fame guy. But here, I'm just us. Yeah. And this is at home. This is mama's cooking. I know the people, they know me. I've known you guys, unfortunately for me, because of the timing of my life, I knew all the guys because we were all the same age. All the different guys that were in the sporting world, in your world, we were all like family, friends. And reason why I think I was successful, because I understood y'all job and I respected it. You guys come to the facility. You get in your car, you come to the facility. You're at work. I get in my car, I come to the facility. I'm at work. My job is to play and communicate with you. Your job is to interview me and get it out. So I never disrespect any media because I treated you like you were at work and you had a job to do. Yeah. No matter what happened, I want to talk to you. You may not like everything I say, or you might, but I always respected. Well, I respect people. I like people. Yeah. I think that was really my success. I actually like human beings. Yeah. Sounds crazy, huh? Yeah. But I'm humbled by this. I don't even know what to say, man. They got me. My son and my daughter, they were involved in it. Tim Hightower, who's done a great job for the team. Yeah. Big time.
Obviously, this was a great honor that the new ownership bestowed. What else have you learned about them in their short term as the new owners of the team?
That if I pinch them, it hurts. They're human. That's the first thing to me. That, the real life dads and husbands and people. And when they say they grew up here, and most of them did, when they say they really care, they actually do. They're businessmen. They don't have to apologize for that. They got plenty of money, and that's fine. But that doesn't make the person. I think I was just talking to my friend on the way here. There's something that everybody is missing. It's the simplest word, L-O-V-E. I was talking, like I said, I was on the phone driving here this long trip, but man, there's something about love and respect that still is awesome. Yeah. I know it's not sexy, it's not mainstream to a lot of people, but it's something about treating people right, caring about people, loving people. And I know in your business, bad stuff sells. I don't even know why we say that, because we're talking about ourselves. Evil, bad news. So we all say that. But we're buying. If it sells, it sells because you bought it. Yeah. But I think that for me, I'll always try to be a person who, even if you don't buy it, this is who I am. I love people, I care about people, care about my community, my wife, my children, God. And so to get this honor and what they're saying it really, really means and represents, you got Darrell there.
Two questions and I'll let you go. You are a legend of the franchise. You played during the heyday of the franchise. Jayden Daniels symbolizes a lot of the future for them. What is your message to him as he comes in as the next franchise quarterback of the team?
I've met the kid just briefly, so I don't know him. I know just a little bit about him. Matter of fact, I know a guy in town that knew his family. I think they're from California. And this guy is from Cali. I knew him for 30 years. So he gave me a little insight. But I would say that if that is true, if your family has values and so forth, stay with that. Stay with that. And if that's the real you, then don't let anything stop you from being that real you. Don't let your fame, your celebrated touchdown, or your money, don't let that change you, because that's the human that will be the most successful, I think. That's the guy that can help our community, that can help our team, that can bring us back to what we are used to historically. We were a part of our community. We were literally in our community. And I'd like to see that change. And I can tell you right now, and again, bad news sells. I'm going to give you some what you might call bad news. I don't know where the players live. I don't see them at the grocery store. I don't see them at the playground. But if you go back in our era, you see us at the playground, in the schools, at the grocery store, down the street. And it's a different world. But I would hope that we can actually get that back, where they live here, they're part of us, because they bring value and they'll get value.
You know this well. This community loves this team, loves it. And to your point, wants to share that love with them.
And I'm glad you said that. Listen, forget the records. This franchise is still deeply, deeply loved by everybody. The history is still alive. The people are still alive. And these young people, young guys, need to understand it is. I didn't create it. I came into it. Yeah. I'm not the author of it. I tried to help it. The learning centers, all the work I've done, the example I tried to set, both on and off the field, I'm a part of it, but I didn't create it. And I hope that these young men can come in, make your money, do your commercials, do your thing, but don't forget about us. You know, don't forget about the simple and important things. And the other thing too is, you know, we had this golf, biggest field, Rypien, golf tournament, and everybody's gray hair, not everybody, but you know, older, walking slow, whatever. Everybody's gonna get there one day. But it's not so much that you get there, but it's when we look back on the road that you traveled in, that to me is important. So do your thing today, but make sure that it gets you to your destination, and your destination have carried all of us with you, our community and everything. And I can't be more grateful to this community. They have treated me with great kindness, and I know I've given to them everything I could and still do. And I'm grateful for this community, and I hope somebody can sit here 20 years, 40 years from now and say the same thing.
You're the only one not aging here, by the way, and that is exemplified by this video of you doing corner drills and looking like Emmanuel Forbes running around out there.
Here's the deal. The thing about being older is, I think it is the durability. It's the durability. So, hey man, can you go play? Oh, I could go and play one series, and it'll be awesome. But they go, defense is up. Whoa, I already played my series. So I think that's the only issue, is that, you know, you can move your feet, but I can't move my feet 3-4 quarters, 2 series, X, Y, Z. But no, my success has really been. They say, you know, they always say, man, what's your secret? What was my lifestyle? I didn't hang out and run around with chicks and do drugs and smoke every day. I went home with my kids, my wife. We cut the yard, we ride our bikes, we went to the store, went to church. I went to work out twice a day, and it was just a normal, simple life. I'm not Darrell Green. I'm not him. I'm not him. I am when you say it, you said it. I don't say that. Hey, I'm Darrell Green. I don't know how that's going to sound on the station, but I'm not that guy. I'm Darrell. I'm Jared's dad, Darrell's dad, Jewel's husband. And now I'm Pop-Pop. So I just think, man, you know.
How long you been Pop-Pop?
Oh, my gosh. We just had one 10-year-old.
Yeah?
I'm a long time Pop-Pop.
Yeah? Do they know about Darrell Green? Do they know that Darrell Green?
Well, you know, that's funny because some of them were at the event, at the thing. And they're still asking, Mom, you know, and then one of them was
what's the big deal?
And one of them was behind me. If you look at the video, so no, I don't think it's really there yet.
Look at that whole new audience for you.
Oh my gosh! You know, my son and my kids, we never had any of the Redskins stuff in our house. We didn't talk it. So they found out about Darrell Green at school in the 2nd grade, 3rd grade. Kids talking, and so they had to learn about Darrell Green. So we didn't really sell that. We just lived our lives.
Yeah.
And over time, they had to, you know, like, oh, your dad, yeah, I am. But yeah, I think there's a formula. There's a formula, and you can't argue because I won. I won in every area. So there's a formula that you can use. And then there's another formula that you can take that just roll the dice if you want to.
Yeah.
And I think I'd rather take the road that I took. And I'm grateful, and this community is part of it.
Gerald, it's great seeing you, and we're all looking forward to this fall, to whatever game that we actually retire a number. We can't wait.
I can't either, man. I'm looking forward to it. And also, last I'll say, you guys and all of our media, you'll never hear me talking and saying anything bad about you. You've always treated me kind. And you're a younger buck, and I know you. So I feel good to know that. So, no, thank you so much. Thanks for coming out here and be a part of this.
Gerald, thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
I mean, I'm not that young, but I appreciate it. I
called you a young buck.
A young buck, yeah. I just told him, I had revealed to him, because I knew he wouldn't remember this, I spoke to you at your retirement ceremony as a professional reporter 22 years ago. I'm not a young buck. But I'll take the compliment. Nobody thinks I'm my age, so I always take that compliment.
That's a good one.
That's always a good one. All right, you're going to hear from Mark Rypien, the former MVP, next. Bram, watch the show, ESPN 630, the Sports Capital. All right, before I throw to my interview last night with Mark Rypien, I do want to mention Al Galdi had on Senator Daines, who we talked about a lot yesterday, where he did his 10-minute spiel at the committee hearing that would eventually, we hope, pass the bill that was passed in the House to get to the Senate floor to eventually hopefully pass, and hopefully the president would then sign it, which would allow D.C. to then do what they wish with the RFK land. And we're, in this circles, hoping that becomes a new stadium for the Washington Commanders, but we'll see when we get there. But he's holding it up because he met with a couple of constituents, which is the family that made the iconic logo that was drawn for George Allen and became the fixture of the helmet for 40 years and obviously got retired when the name was gone, and he said he's not going to support the legislation unless they make a deal of some sort with the family. The Commanders quietly already said we already met with the family. It wasn't that they haven't had a meeting. It is valuable IP, and I don't have really time because the show's kind of gone by with all the interviews, but Al did ask him about what do you want.
He said what, and it was great.
He said, what do you want?
Framing, it was great framing by Al. Perfect world. What are you getting out of this?
Yeah, what do you want?
And
it took him 3 minutes. To get around to the answer, which was maybe they start selling some old merchandise and some of the money that's generated from that goes back to the family, the tribe, Native American, projects.
Yep. He basically said one of the charities which deals with missing Native American women, essentially. Yeah.
So like I thought, this is about valuable IP.
Yep.
And it's valuable IP that's being co-opted by Etsy shops that you can't pull down fast enough. The team isn't selling any of the merchandise because they quote-unquote retired the logo. The family probably wants it back to monetize themselves. The NFL and the team's not going to give it to them because they know the value of it. But maybe the happy medium will be, well, if the NFL says it's okay for us to sell this, and that's an interesting question for Roger Goodell, are you guys okay with that?
Because, there's a good cause behind it. I mean,
there's a good cause behind it. You're not going to see the name Redskins again. You're not going to see that at all. You're not going to see this logo on the field or on the helmets ever again. That's not going to happen either. But being sold as old school merchandise in the team store or the NFL shop, I could see that. being adorned in a Hall of Fame or in the halls of the old and new stadium. I could see that being adorned, prominently at the training facility. I could see that, in honoring, like, here we are. We just talked to Darrell Green and Mark Rypien, who's a Super Bowl MVP and maybe the greatest player in franchise history outside of Sammy Baugh, 20-year career Hall of Fame cornerback. Sure. That logo should be by them. They wore that logo.
Yep. Right.
Exactly. They wore that logo. So we did get around to what it's about, which is monetizing very valuable IP. The NFL's not dumb. The team's not dumb. They're not going to give them the logo.
Of course.
But, listen, I'm sure every fan listening to this goes, yeah, start selling the shirts again.
That's right. Right. Exactly.
I can buy one of those? Right. Great. You want to know how many of those I saw last night?
Exactly.
At this thing I was at?
Of course.
With all these legends that were at this thing. Like, how many people were wearing Redskin, literal Redskin stuff? Like, literally. It was like, we haven't gone anywhere, basically.
Right.
The attitude. It was, we haven't gone anywhere. And I go, y'all are in good company. Don't worry about it. I'm not upset about it.
I'll reference it because I listened to it because I saw Al Howd had Senator Daines on, and he reads his listeners' emails during his show. And one of them was like, I bought the Dan Quinn shirt for $20 because I can't find it officially. So what else am I going to do? And
That's
it was
right.
like, yep, you're leaving money on the table right now.
Yeah. So check out Al's podcast if you want to hear the full interview with Senator Daines. All right. One final interview from last night. Thanks again to Chris Johnson for the invitation to the 18th annual Mickey Steele Golf Tournament, which is spearheaded by the former Super Bowl MVP Mark Rypien. It benefits money for cancer research, specifically leukemia, who Mickey Steele died of, and Mark's son, when he was very young, passed away from cancer as well. So it's a near and dear cause to his heart. So here was my conversation last night with former Super Bowl MVP Mark Rypien. All right, we're at the Mickey Steele Golf Tournament on Kent Island with Super Bowl MVP Mark Rypien. It is great to see you.
Rim, great to see you too, and wonderful day today. We had a little beautiful weather finally came through the area. So we've had a pretty soggy week of golf, and tomorrow's going to be gorgeous again. And it's always nice to come out here to Kent Island and what the Crab Deck does, and the Hilton Garden Inn to support our mission here is over and beyond the call of duty. And then to see my guys come on out, and each and every year that guys I played with, guys that played before me, and guys that played after me. And I know that Dan Quinn, I saw him at an event about 2 months ago, a USO event, and he was saddened a little bit because they have OTAs or whatever, and he couldn't make it, but he sends his best. And so I think it's pretty exciting times in the DMV.
You want to share what the mission is a little bit before we kind of get into the Commanders?
Absolutely. It's the Mickey Steele Golf event. Mickey was a good friend of mine. During my years here in the summertime, I'd spend a lot of time out in Maryland playing softball, and we'd get together, and Mickey was part of that team. Tragically, Mickey lost his life to leukemia, as many people have. My son passed away in 1998 to a brain tumor, so cancer's affected us in some sort of way, in each and every one of us, some family member, friend, or close friend, or whatever. So to come out here and honor Mickey and what he would have liked anyway. He was a big Baltimore he's a big fan of DMV sports, professional sports, whether it be the Caps, whether it be the Ravens. Not so much the Ravens, the Caps, the Redskins back then, and you would have loved the Nationals now that they're back again. But so he was a big fan of the DC sports. So we get together to honor him, raise money for Maryland Special Olympics. Also raise money for the Andrew Rypien School, which is in Spokane, that is for any child that's been in treatment for a long period of time, whether cancer or not. They're going to stay up with their studies. So the school there is designed to do that. So we're very fortunate. We've got a great board of guys that are very passionate about it, knew Mickey real well, and they do a great job. And it's always nice to see our guys come out and support us.
You're living in the state of Washington now, right? You're up there?
Yes, up in Spokane on the eastern side. And so, I still religiously follow the Redskins, Commanders, I should say. That
it's fine.
Yeah,
You're
I know. Everyone
here.
says, it's who I played for, so it's hard not to say it. But so it's always good to see. Watch the draft this year, and excited to see this young kid, Jayden Daniels, play. Watching him in college was like a human highlight reel. He's a pretty special guy, and it reminds me a lot of a young RG3. When he first came in, and as long as we do the right thing, and I think that's what Dan Quinn wants to do too, and what we're set up to do is protect him. We don't. When you got a guy like that, you got to build around him. So this team was always built from the ground up, and you're only as good as the guys up front. So if our guys stay healthy and we keep keep getting those guys, those big hogs, and to come in here and do the thing they can do. The sky's the limit because the talent level here is pretty good right now.
Is Jake available? Can we get him back?
Well, Big Jake would be great. I mean, Jim Lachey. I mean, Raleigh McKenzie just went by here. Stinky Mark Schlereth, Bostic, Russ Grimm. You can't, came in the same year. Ed Simmons, a buddy of mine too, and those guys are the heart and soul of what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I think wish Jake had another year of eligibility left. I wish I had a year. I could probably be a left tackle, right now. So
you said you saw Dan Quinn recently. Do you know him relatively well?
No, I just know of him, know, and but he's very, he's very supportive. One of our men and women in the armed services.
Yeah.
He made it a point when he was in Atlanta to get his team as a group to go out to Afghanistan and support our troops. And so I think the character of Dan Quinn is solid. But we're not here to talk about guys' character. We're here about win football games.
That's right.
And I think he'd say the same thing. Great. I have great character. A lot of people have great character. If you have great character, you win football games. That magnifies you to the next level. So he's done it. He's been there. He knows what it's like. And I think he's got a group around him with Peters and the supporting staff, within the organization, administration, to, I think, get to that next level.
Yeah, I'm sure for you, it's been a long time coming. I mean, me as a fan, now voice of the team, I'm dying for them to get back to the days when you were playing and your teammates were playing. It's been a long time. As you've kind of viewed this from afar and all this change has occurred, how are you kind of viewing the organization moving forward?
Well, it's a business, obviously, and one, I think we need an identity of a stadium and maybe go back, hopefully cross our fingers that the site and that, all this litigation stuff with the name and likeness of the name being used is not going to affect our ability to get back to RFK, because that would be to me the pinnacle of what maybe this city needs and what this town needs. I mean, we are kind of, our fans were maybe the best, arguably the best. They'd ever missed a game. There's a 20-year waiting list. It was a hard ticket to get. Now, I mean, you're seeing home games with more fans that are Cowboys or Giants or Eagles or whatever fans coming to our own stadium. We can't have that happen. So winning football games will eliminate that, and maybe getting a new stadium and back to the identity that we had once before might be it. So I don't know, but I know this coaching staff is eager about coaching these guys he has, and we got a talented crew coming in. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the season. The schedule just came out yesterday, so to have our schedule there and what we need to do, and the OTAs, all these things add up to getting off to a big start. And the preseason games obviously used to be, at one point in time, Joe Gibbs said he was so vanilla. He just didn't want to show anything. To a point where, you got to see some guys, though. You got to see some guys play. You got to see some guys, be out there when it matters. And so I think the preseason this year will be a little bit different, because I think Dan Quinn wants to find out what he has. So he might, first couple games, he might go deep with some of these guys, and just to get them to say, hey, what do we have as a football team? What's our identity going to be on offense, and what's our identity going to be on defense? And then, once that first game starts, let it all hang out.
You mentioned Jayden Daniels. Obviously, there's a lot of promise in him. His ability is obvious. You're one of 3 quarterbacks who won a Super Bowl here, 4 if you count Sammy Ball with world championships. What do you say to him about the responsibility of being the quarterback of this team in this town?
He's from what I've seen of him, and just listening to him and his interviews, and what he's a grounded kid that wants to get back to the levels of the early 80s and into the early 90s. Or this 13 years of this organization, basically 10 years of this organization, go to 4 Super Bowls. It's pretty impressive, and so I think he's keen on that. He's been to big games before. I mean, you don't play in the SEC and not have big games each and every week you're playing there, because each one matters. And that doesn't change the same thing you talk about, the take it game by game. That's how you supposed to do it, but in the long run, I mean, you got to play well in your conference. You got to play well at home, and you got to earn the respect, because the energy level now in Washington is something that I haven't seen in a while. You know, with Josh Harris and his group, you know, taking over the ownership, and obviously Dan Snyder, you know, wanting to win Super Bowl and buying his team to win a Super Bowl. That's not how you do it. So you got to find a group that's excited about this new group coming in and who they're bringing with them, and Mark Ein and Mitch Rails and the group that they have, and Irvin Magic Johnson. You know, these are proven winners, and he's been successful as New Jersey Devils and his Philadelphia 76ers, so he knows what it takes to win. Josh does, and he's going to do everything he possibly can to make that happen. But that's basically letting your coaches coach and do what they do the best, and you getting them the people that need to be. And so far he's been able to do that, and so it's really exciting for this next stretch, next 3 or 4 months here coming up, and then into the season. So.
How do you think about, because you lived it, the responsibility and the pressure from the area of being the quarterback of this team, and especially when you took over, there was a recent history of winning when you became the quarterback. He's in a very different position now, where he's trying to kind of resurrect it and be the face of a rebirth for the franchise.
I would actually, I'd embrace that more so than the stress, and I wouldn't say stress, but there was expectations. The bar was very high.
Yeah.
You know, when the bar's that high, you lose in the first round of the playoffs or don't go deep into the playoffs, the fans here about ready to say, what's going on here? That's not us, you know. We need to make some changes, you know.
Yeah, the truth is, if they go 9-8 this year, people are going to be happy about it for the first year.
Which is, I don't think the players hearing that will feel that way. Because,
I agree.
Their bar's a little higher, and they want to play at a.
But fan expectations.
But fan expectations, yes. Yeah. I think so. So, it's I think a good environment to come into for Jayden and the coaching staff. You know, because not that the bar was low, it's just we didn't get to where we wanted to go, and now this team has got an opportunity to do so, and so the pressure's always high. Professional sports, the toughest thing to do is win a game in the NFL. It's hard, it's difficult, you know. And you go week in and week out, and you work your butt off, and something happens that maybe you didn't expect to happen, and you lose a game you thought you should have won. That's the sport that it is, and the parity now that they have, and with the salary cap and keeping teams and make sure even the teams that were low bar, now they got to sign players and get players to an expected level that they're going to compete. So it's very the status quo now in the NFL is the parity is there. And each and every year, I think each team goes into it thinking they can win the Lombardi Trophy.
Yeah.
The hoist of Lombardi is one of the things that you're looking at right now in the NHL. The Stanley Cup and Lombardi Trophy are two beautiful trophies to raise. And nothing about the World Series or NBA basketball; those are beautiful too. But the Lombardi Trophy for me and for all our guys is what we played for. And we had a couple of them already before me, and the bar was high. And the nice thing about our team in the 91-92 team, it was in a full set 16-game schedule. And that would be one of the things that group could say that they were the only team within that organization to win in a 16-game year. Take nothing away from the other two ones, but they're in strike-shortened seasons, and those are great football teams. Maybe one of the best football teams we ever had was when we lost the Super Bowl, and the plus-minus margin in that season was astronomical.
Yeah.
That maybe was the biggest powerhouse we had, and we didn't bring it home. So to have all the tools and still not bring it home, it's a matter of just gut check and getting it done when it matters most.
It's been a long time, but I hope one day we have another parade and you can be there standing next to Jayden as the last two quarterbacks winning a Super Bowl.
I would love to do that, and I never been to a parade. There was always a Pro Bowl or something, and that we, I was involved in, so I never got an opportunity. I went to a Pro Bowl after the 91-92. I wasn't there. I was in the White House, but I wasn't there for the Super Bowl parade when Doug and our group won in 87-88. But it doesn't mean I don't want to go to a parade. I was too young. I was in college when the 82 Super Bowl happened, and Joe and Rigo and all those guys were hoisting that thing and having a good old party, and the DMV needs that again, and we need this team to keep doing the things they're doing. I think there's the bar is going to get raised to another level and get to a point where we're the ones that teams are looking at now as the next generation that's going to do great things in DC.
Mark, it was great seeing you. I'll let you get back to the poker and the golf. Thank you.
Appreciate it. You bet.